Bonjour, everybody. Mopshkesinique indigenous Macanaminising Donjaba. Ichiji and Zagagan the Da, Danjabam Kak Macanaminising. Saginaw Indian Dotted, Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians and Dotable Douglas, Michigan, Dodam, Ojibwe, and Anishinaabe Queen now. Good morning, everybody. I was just saying bonjour in my language, introducing myself. I'm from Michigan. I just live about 6 hours north. And my tribe comes from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We have a 7-county service area up there, and up in Bowaching or Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. So happy to be here today. I just want to give a huge Aanikoobigigan to the Clarences and Andy, who helped us out to greet the day today with a beautiful sunrise ceremony. It was so hard to get up this morning, but it was so worth it. We had 42 people show up for sunrise ceremony, and I have to tell you, I've been to some of them where only one person showed up. So it was beautiful today. Yeah, but a great shout out for that beautiful ceremony, and we're so thankful to the Pokagon Band of Potawatomi and the Traditions and Repatriation Committee, who's helped us out so much with guidance and love and direction and support for this conference. But I'm up here actually to introduce our guests, right? We actually have some Ojibwe filmmaker brothers on site, Adam and Zack Khalil. They're both members as citizens of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians, and from Bowaching or Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, but they're currently located in Brooklyn, New York. Their work centers on Indigenous narratives in the present and looks toward the future through the use of innovative nonfiction forms. Their first feature-length documentary, Not to Say, was I guess premiered in 2016. Following that, they had another short film called The Violence of Civilization Without Secrets in 2018. And right now they're working, for the past 5 years, they have been working with the Michigan Anishinaabe Cultural Preservation and Repatriation Alliance, or MACPRA, here in Michigan, to document repatriation stories. They're working on a film called Aanikoobigigan, and we have them here today. And I also just want to say that they're lifelong friends of mine. We grew up in Tribal Youth Council together and have supported each other through this life. And it seems like our paths keep getting crossed in repatriation work, which we would have never expected when we were, 10 years old, swimming at Sugar Island, having sandwiches for lunch. I know I'm very connected with Adam and Zack because of a special person who was a light in my life when I was younger, and someone who took time to care about me when things were a little difficult for me. And that happens to be their mother, Allie. And she really inspired a lot of who I am. And she obviously inspires a lot of who they are. And so it means so much to me to stand up here and to introduce two of my favorite people in the world, some of the most hardworking and passionate people, about telling these stories and telling them in a good way, and documenting what it's really like to work for the ancestors. So I guess without further ado, I will turn it over to them, but please welcome Adam and Zack Khalil.
My name is Adam Khalil, originally from Bowaching, what's currently called Sault Ste. Marie. I just want to say Aanikoobigigan, the AIA, for having us, and the Pokagons. And yeah, it's really amazing to be here and present a little bit of our work. Yani biz konuyu beğenince because Bautun and Dunjabal position noted. My name is Zack Khalil. So honored and it's a pleasure to be here. Big thanks to AIA as well. So we're going to set up and show a few clips from some of our work and lead up to a little sneak peek of our in progress film. But first, I just want to talk about the film and some of our practice and sort of how we approach filmmaking from an Anishinaabe or Ojibwe perspective. I think, so first of all, the film Aanikoobigigan, little tech setup here, a little multitasking. As Khalil mentioned, it's a film we've been working on for about 5 years now. We've really been taking our time with it and trying to work at the speed of trust, understanding how sensitive repatriation work is. And our intention in making this film is really not to sensationalize the subject in any way, but to allow it to serve as an educational tool for future generations of travel repatriation specialists, museum professionals, archaeologists, anthropologists. We really want to get the film out there to raise awareness about repatriation, because I feel like a lot of the amazing hard work that you all do doesn't get heard of or seen enough in the public. And I think if the general public knew more about what was actually going on behind the scenes in some of these institutions, I think they would behave differently, right? But I guess just to sort of step back a little bit in the past, it's maybe good for us to talk about how we think about filmmaking from an Indigenous perspective. Film has been a tool often used by ethnographers or anthropologists against Native people as ways of extracting information from us, of taking our stories from us, of telling our stories for us in ways that benefit settler colonialism and our dispossession of land and culture. And so as Anishinaabe filmmakers, when we think about engaging in documentary filmmaking practice, we really want to seriously question what that practice is and what its roots are. I go back and think about some of the earliest films ever made were like in Thomas Edison's lab of people dancing the ghost dance for a white audience for Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, the sort of really violent sort of practice of filmmaking. One of the earliest documentaries is often cited as such is about the Nook of the North, which is like a really patronizing and misleading depiction of Inuit life. And it's not really a documentary, it's like branded content. It's an advertisement for a French fur company. So we're really aware of the ways in which filmmaking practice tends to be this really extractive process that isn't a reciprocal thing. It isn't something that Native people get anything out of or have much control over. And so when we think about engaging in documentary film production, we want to really think about how to do that in an Anishinaabe way, in a culturally specific way. I think, in filmmaking, sometimes people talk about national sort of filmmaking, sort of like there's US films, there's Japanese films, there's French films. And what we're interested in thinking about is like, what is our specific way of making films as Anishinaabe people? And how does that differ, right? And for us, I think it's really a rejection of that sort of extractive nature of filmmaking. It's a sort of more community-oriented approach. It's a more open-ended approach. Not going into an interview, knowing exactly what you're trying to get and pulling a soundbite, but visiting with people, talking with people, seeing what the people actually on the ground doing the work think is important, and letting that shape the film more than anything. Yeah, so we're gonna play a little trailer from our first film. The title's "And Not to Say." It shines a certain way to a certain place. It flies, it falls. Super short title, really easy to remember. And I also just want to say Chippewa for that introduction, Colleen, because also the work that you've done has kind of led us to this project as well and been a huge inspiration. And also just to add that our late mother, Allison Krebs, was really our inspiration to make it Not to Say and to try to author a film about our community and do it collectively in kind of a funky way. So yeah, I'll play a 60-second trailer and then we'll keep it moving. Thanks. Just kidding. We're going now.
It is from understanding that power comes. And the power in the ceremony was an understanding what it meant. And while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell, and I understood more than I saw. I did not have to remember these things. They remembered themselves all these years.
That's just a short little clip from our first feature film, and not to say about the sort of Seven Fires prophecy from our perspective up in Bawate in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. It's available online if anyone wants to check it out for free. But I think now that we're kind of getting low on time, I want to talk about, Aanikoobigigan, the film we're making. Unless you all know that we're here and interested in talking about the repatriation work that you all are doing as well. If anyone is interested in speaking to us or participating in the film on or off camera, just to share their perspectives, we're really open. And also just to know that the film, the end goal for it is a national broadcast on PBS if all goes well. So really hoping to get it out to as broad an audience as possible. But I think now we have like a really short, or not that short, 10, 11 minute sort of sneak peek of work in progress of the film that we're working on. And
which might feature some familiar faces.
And it's very much a work in progress too, so we're really open to feedback. And yeah, just want to share it at this sort of vulnerable state and see what you all think later. And looking forward to meeting you all, hopefully, later on.
Yeah, I just want to stress that we work very iteratively, so we'd love to hear what people think about this, the good and the bad, as we continue to work on the project, hopefully for a national broadcast in 2024. And once again, Miigwech to everyone for being here, AAIA for having us, and yeah, little sorry, we're kind of nervous.
Non-native scholars and museum professionals are really uncomfortable with the ways that Indigenous communities collapse time in relation to objects. There's this assumption in the Western mindset that distance in time through years means distant in relationship, and that's just simply not the case. It's like in Potawatomi, our word for ancestor or great-grandmother, great-grandchild is Aanikoobigigan, and so that means simultaneously ancestor and future generation.
Miigwech to Mangrove. I also forgot to say that we've been making the film in collaboration and consultation with Mangrove for 5 years now. And like you mentioned, hoping in the next 2 years to finish up the project. And again, this is a very early sample work in progress. It only features the first 2 years of footage, and there's about 300 hours of additional material that we'll be sifting through, as well as gathering some more.
Yeah, thanks so much for checking it out. I look forward to having some conversations in the future. Come reach out. Miigwech for having us.